Today's computer problem at Cape Canaveral was distressing, perhaps, but for most Americans, not totally surprising.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Visioncast, the podcast where we explore the latest tech trends shaping the future of many organizations. I'm your host, Ali Zubairy, head of retail at Visionet, and today's episode is titled Beyond the Checkout, a deep dive into how innovation is transforming the fashion and apparel industry. In this episode, we are tackling some of the most pressing challenges retailers face today, from tariffs and global supply chain shifts to the fast evolving technologies that are helping brands stay competitive. As the retail landscape undergoes rapid changes, digital strategies have become essential for staying agile, managing the cost, navigating the trade complexities, and most importantly, delivering exceptional customer experience. We'll also explore how AI powered personalization, some of the smart sourcing strategies, and data driven decisions are enabling leading fashion brands to thrive in disruption. And to bring these insights to life, I am joined by a remarkable guest, Katerina Suh. She is the VP of Information Technology at Delta Galil. Katrina brings a wealth of experience in streamlining operations and driving growth through strategic and cross-functional technology transformations. She has led major initiatives from ERP modernization and digital commerce rollout to omni-channel fulfillment projects and post-acquisition integrations, always aligning tech with business outcomes. So now that we have set the stage, let's jump right into the conversation. Katrina, it's pleasure to have you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Ali. It's very nice to be here, and thank you for that wonderful intro.
No, absolutely. So Katrina, to start things off, the first question that I will pose to you is, how has your role evolved as technology continued to take the center stage in shaping the retail strategy? And I want to understand that how that shift influenced the way you generally approach the business and the opportunities that are out there.
Yeah, very good question. And I think over the years, our role as IT enablers or business enablers has changed dramatically, and especially in recent years, because there's a big demand, right, of technology and digital transformation in companies, and so we've become not just the people that keep the lights on in companies and the IT people, quote unquote, but we've become business collaborators and strategists and data providers, right, to enable the business to do what they do best. We own or we collaborate rather with the business on strategy, and what does that mean? We sit together, we discuss the needs of the business, what their goals are, what are they trying to achieve, whether that's near term, short term goals or long term goals, and we are a critical piece, right, in that collaboration, because we then try to see how technology can help all of those goals that the company has. So, we've become, influencers in the boardrooms, right? Consultants and advisors to CEOs, COOs, and other executives. We've become, like I mentioned, data strategists, right? We enable real-time insights. We gather the data from different systems, different channels, whether that's the POS, in the stores, whether that's e-commerce, statistics, and any information that we can then consolidate and help the business to make decisions. We also get involved in fulfillment, right? We get involved with integrations with WMS, WES systems, automation, right? Delta Galil is right now investing in a big automation project in one of our distribution centers. So we are the core enablers, right, of that project and that strategy. So we really become an integrated part of the business, which wasn't the case in the past, but especially in our industry. But now we've become really, really integrated and at the core of it all.
No, excellent. And Katrina, you essentially talked about all the way from being the partner in generating the revenue all the way to through the automation, bringing efficiency into the business and optimizing the cost, right? So the core two KPIs, the efficiency in the business, and then how we generate new revenue stream and the strategy. So excellent. Katrina, if you look at today, right? So in today's world, we everybody is talking about tariffs and that recent changes and the uncertainty that is being creeped in, and especially if you look at goods from Asia, is there any impact that you have seen? How that has impacted your sourcing strategy? And then is there a role that technology plays in you to be able to navigate these tariff pressures?
Absolutely. I mean, I think every company and every consumer out there is now starting to, or will very soon, see the impact of these changes. And we, as a global apparel company, and I think apparel is very, very impacted here. We are already starting to see the changes, and there's a panic of a sort, right, forming around departments and companies. So there definitely has been sort of like a stop, like a freeze of shipments, right? And we're really trying to see, everyday things are changing, right? It's not a one-time change that was done and now we have to figure out how we're going to handle it. It keeps evolving every day, and that is not something that I think anybody was prepared for. So I think what we're trying to do is assess the situation. Our supply chain teams are trying to understand the latest and greatest updates, right, each and every day of what's happening out there, following the markets, following the changes in regulations, and we're trying to come up with a strategy that will not only handle these changes, but any future changes that may come, right? Another country being hit with a tariff and that we didn't expect, right? So creating a strategy or a model for our supply chain that will be flexible enough to handle any future changes. And what does that mean? So obviously, we've put a little bit of a hold on shipments from China. We're trying to negotiate with our partners, both our suppliers and our customers. Obviously, it's impacting everybody, and the customers are aware of this, and they're working with us. Everybody's being very collaborative in this process, and we're trying to reduce costs where we can with the factories, right, in order to offset some of these duty right changes. And also with our customers, we are also trying not to raise the prices too much, perhaps a little bit, to offset these costs that we're incurring. So all in all, we're trying to really work with our entire supply chain, partners to come up with the best strategy so that we don't end up raising the prices too much, or we don't end up losing shipments, right, or losing customers, or delaying shipments, right? But the good thing is that everybody's aware, everybody knows the impact, and everybody's working together. So that's really a good thing. And from a technology perspective, I think we are trying to help with this change by ensuring that our systems are centralized and that we can like I mentioned before, provide the real-time information to the business folks to be able to make these decisions. And Delta Galil is in the process of transforming. Really, it's a big transformation of our ERP system, our centralized system, right? That up until now has been very decentralized. And I think with this change, with this replatforming, we will be able to have the big picture. We'll be able to see the big picture of our company, of all of our global divisions that we have, right? And be able to utilize or leverage that visibility and that central system to look at our prices, look at our costs, look at our factories. Can we consolidate, shipments? Can we reduce the price or the cost of materials with a vendor, right? But we need the data. We need to see how everything is working right now in order to make those decisions. So I also mentioned, planning tools are going to become very important that also provide, the visibility and the agility for the businesses to run models right in real time. Like what if this changes and what if that changes tomorrow with this vendor or with that vendor, how will that impact my margins and everything downstream. So having those, systems that can do this modeling with different factors is going to be really critical to making fast decisions and enabling the business.
No, excellent. And Katrina, in fact, you talked about these enterprise system transformation program, and I was happened to actually be talking with another customer. They what they did was essentially with this all tariff changes. What you really need to understand is your actual cost, because that's what will drive the pricing, and that landed cost aspect and how your systems are designed so that they are agile and you can make these rapid changes to really understand your landed cost, so that then you can actually really drive the business decisions. So one of the investment that they had done was to put in an enterprise system that helped them really understand the cost element, and then enable them to be agile. So has helped. So as you go through your enterprise system transformation, so that's some of the efficiency that will bring in, that will then enable business to be able to make these decisions. My
Absolutely.
next question, Katrina, for you, essentially, so you talked about couple of the projects, right? That your enterprise transformation program that you're executing today, and then the automation program that you initially talked about from a warehouse standpoint that your team is running. But if you look back, right, and some of the projects that you had done in the past where you have measured some significant ROI, maybe you want to shed some light on what projects that you have seen the most successful, and what really the driver behind that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the latest one, and it actually really helped us, to get to this point, and it's actually helping us now with these tariff changes. We implemented a logistics software that is global, and it helps us to. So let me back up a little bit. Before I get to how it has impacted us, I'm gonna just explain what it does. So we onboarded all of our suppliers, all of our factories to this software and tool, and they're using it to do all of their bookings for the shipments, as well as the shipping process, applying labels, creating ASNs. All of that, all of the information that we're going to need for the shipment. So now that all of our suppliers, all of our factories are utilizing this, it gives us a centralized place where we can track our shipments and our product and where it is in its journey. So it has really given us visibility, right, to all of our global shipments, whereas before we did not have that. And we can make decisions. We can see the data. We can see where the shipments are. Make decisions. When these tariffs were introduced, we were quickly able to perhaps reroute some shipments to different places where the goods were needed, and so it allowed really the logistics team and the sourcing teams to make decisions faster and better by having this tool available. Prior to that, it was a lot of maintaining of this information in Excel spreadsheets and in somebody's inbox, right? Email inbox, and information is fragmented and not in one central place. So now it has really opened up opportunities to be more flexible and in the sourcing of product and getting that product to our distribution centers and ultimately to our customers. So that has really helped us to achieve those goals, and we're really happy that how this tool is working and what it's doing for us.
No, excellent. And essentially, I think, Katrina, that also must have become the backbone of all these supply chain disruption, right? And then having a right tool in place that can then brings in that agility in your business to be able to actually change and make those decisions, to be able to change the sourcing partners from one place to the other.
Exactly.
And Katrina, everyone, we started this year with a lot of enthusiasm. In fact, late last year around AI, everybody talks about AI, right? And AI is going to just do miracles, and rightly so. There are a lot of organizations who have seen a lot of savings and use cases that are really bringing to life. And would love to understand, Katrina, what your business is doing, where you actually have seen there are a lot of companies who are still in the piloting phase, but many of the organizations now have even adopted and are started to see the benefits that are coming out. So would love to understand where you are in the journey, and what cases where you have seen the most success for the business.
Yeah, I mean, AI is everywhere, right? And I was reading an article recently, and it said, the worst thing you can do is not use it, right?
Yeah.
As a person and also organizations, right? And I know there's a lot of concerns, around ethics and usage, and when it comes to like the private sector and also organizations, but for us, our company wanted to be an early adopter and wanted to introduce AI tools for our teams, for our people, and also into our systems and decision-making processes and things like that. So we have tried to evaluate different tools that are out there in the market. Of course, I think personally with all of the hype around AI and all of the different partners that are now offering different tools, it's really important to be diligent about security and exposure to any kind of risks. And so as we're trying to adopt some of these tools, we're also trying to be very careful about who we're partnering with and what the tool offers us. What's the ROI? What are the benefits that we're going to see versus the investment and the process. So we've definitely done a few things to incorporate AI into our organization, and it really started from making the customer experience on our websites better, whether that's by providing assistance with product recommendations, whether that's consolidating their reviews, reading their reviews and getting insights from their reviews of our products, and be able to quickly react to any negative reviews or thoughts or feelings from our customers, and be able to make changes quickly to whether that's product quality or product fit or whatever they were complaining about or negatively speaking about, or the positive things as well, right? If they love a product or if they think something is is really nice, really enforce that product and things like that. So that's more from like a customer experience, digital e-commerce customer experience, but also within the organization too. We've tried to implement tools that streamline some of the processes, maybe automate some tasks that departments were doing manually, right? I think that's where we're seeing probably the biggest impact, eliminating work that can be done much quicker now, that a person doesn't have to spend a lot of time on a certain task, and they can use their time on doing more, other more important things throughout their day. We're also looking into, I mentioned before, planning tools and how we can really help our teams look at inventory, look at decisions that they want to make regarding inventory. So that's where the planning tools come into play. And a lot of the vendors and partners out there offering these tools are already incorporating AI into their tools. So it's really beneficial for us and exciting right now to see what AI can do in that space as well. Because I think everybody, not just us, has some kind of inventory issue or sourcing issue, and now with the tariffs even more. So being able to have these tools that can help us make these decisions, help us with the modeling, like I mentioned earlier, cost modeling or price modeling, it's really important. So we're looking into that as our next sort of challenge and opportunity to implement something strategic like that that's going to help our teams.
No, essentially, I think, Katrina, initially you talked about planning, right? So that's where a lot of data-driven decisions and then the use of AI and the models also, we are seeing many of the customers taking the advantage, really going deep and not just using the first-party data, but really able to see the wide amount of data that is available to be able to drive certain significant decisions. Katrina, I love my environment, right? So we all love our environment, and I must ask this question because in the world of fast fashion, everybody talks about the impact on environment that it could cause. So, what initiative your organization is making around the ESG, and ESG also has a very important component of technology and being able to actually measure and drive those efficiencies. So, would love to understand what you guys are doing today and how you are driving these ESG initiatives internally.
Yeah, no, that's a great topic because our company has really started to pay attention to this. Obviously, as a supplier and as a manufacturer of products, apparel products, that becomes a big factor in our brands and in our commitment to our customers. And the customers and the consumers have become obviously very demanding in terms of sustainability claims, and they're shifting towards more sustainable products. So for us, that's a very, very important topic, and we now actually have a department, ESG department, that handles these demands, and also working with our factories to ensure that there's a traceability, right, in the products. And so because a lot of our customers are already asking for traceability and where our products are coming from, what are the materials used, what are the labor standards in those factories, right? So that all comes into play when we talk about ESG. And so our team, our sustainability team, is now, building sort of a strategy to, and also we, from an IT perspective, are helping them build systematic ways and implementing tools that can, do the traceability, document this information so that we can then easily supply it to our customers should they request it. So it's really, it's really important now for us to have, the supply chain really documented, centralized, and so that we and as well as our customers be able to tap into their data and understand where the products are coming from. what are the factories, what are the materials, what are the practices in these factories, and things like that, so that we stay compliant. So it's been a really big topic in our company, and like I said, there's a lot of effort now and a lot of investment going towards that initiative and ensuring that we're in compliance.
Oh, great to hear, Katrina. Katrina, you talked about the keeping the price and the product pricing static, right? As you navigate through the tariffs and all the disruption that are being caused. But again, at the end of the day, there is a rising cost element that is attached to it. And what, from a technology and from a customer experience perspective, that you are now looking at is that this rising cost don't end up impacting the customer experience.
Yeah, I mean, again, the customers are aware, obviously, of what's happening. They probably expect that prices might go up in all industries, not just ours. And so I think where we're going to focus on are several things. Number one, the loyalty, right, of the customers towards our brands. And I think loyalty, speaks volumes in terms of how the customers will continue to buy our product and their trust in our product. And going back to the sustainability claims, whether we are true and authentic to our claims. This is where the brand and the loyalty will need to win over price, right? Because even if the prices do go up, we need to ensure that our brands remain strong and the loyalty of our customers remains strong. And also we have different channels, right? We have retail stores, we have e-commerce, we have wholesale. So all of those channels have different margin models and strategies, and so we can we're really going to be looking into the leveraging where we can make the best profits, and also reducing the perhaps the SKU counts, right? The inventory offerings. Maybe we can follow the 20/80 rule. If we have some products that are doing really well, and those are our biggest profit makers, we enforce those, and we drop others that are not, and therefore we save on costs there. So those are kind of, I think, the strategies we're going to be looking into across our brands, in order to not scare the customer off and not to increase prices so much that we lose business and we lose the customers, but really focusing on providing them with and continuing to provide with the same quality, and the brand, right? Keeping the brand strong, during this volatility. And if we do end up raising prices, it has to be obviously communicated to the customers and ensuring that they understand the increases, and also we can tie it around sustainability and the fact that everything costs more these days. So I think we have to be transparent around what we're going to do if that's our goal, really, to increase prices. So it's going to be a lot about communication with all of our partners.
No, thank you. And Katrina, towards the end, maybe the last question that I would ask is on the technology side, right? So there are many trends that, in your view, what trends that you think are today overhyped versus what are the trends that you feel are still underappreciated and we, I think, looked at and appraised?
Yeah. I'm going to be very careful when I say this, because I know there's a lot of, and we talked about AI just a few moments ago, but AI is one of those things right now that's still relatively new, I would say, across the board. But there's generative AI, and a lot of companies are implementing AI, like I said before, into their tools, into their products. But we as a company and as a user, right, of AI or AI-enabled tools, we have to be careful about these claims and really the ROI on the things that we're getting. So generative AI obviously is starting to be used around various industries, but the expectations and the promises really have to be evaluated, and what benefits it brings to each and every business. So I'm not saying that it doesn't work. It works, right? But we have to be careful around where we implement it and the benefit of it, right? And like I mentioned before, security is going to be a big topic. And actually, security, on the other hand, is, I think, one of the underhyped trends, which now has to become very, very important in organizations because of AI and because of really the use of data and systems and in everything nowadays, right? IT, is everything, is everywhere. There's no job, there's no role that you can play in an organization without using some kind of like technology, right? So this is where security for us as an IT team, or me as an IT leader, becomes really important, to have protocols, to have measures and documentations and rules around the use of technology, the use of AI, the zero trust, right? Implementing a zero trust environment where we have to vet everything, we have to check everything before we implement, and we as a company are very strict around it. Implementing rules, and advising our users and our teams to be very diligent and very careful about what they expose, right, to the world, what they share with the world, and we limit certain capabilities within the company. So in order to protect, right, the company assets. So I think security is it's always been obviously an important topic in companies and important areas, but I think just now with AI it's going to be even more important, and with the evolution of technology, I mean, everything is growing exponentially, everything is becoming faster and better and more advanced, and new technologies are coming out there every single day. So in order to keep up with all of that, but also to protect us from any risks, any harm, we have to have a very robust security standard and tools and monitoring tools, and also awareness in our community, in our organization, about what the risks are.
No, thank you. Thank you very much, Katrina. I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation today. A lot of insights around how you are navigating the tariffs and how you are using technology to drive the overall business outcomes. So I really appreciate your time today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ali. Thanks for having me. It was a good time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.